Welcome to the UW Now live stream. Tonight we're discussing the cost of American isolationism with two UW experts from the departments of Economics and Political Science. Assistant Professor Lydia Cox is an economist and an expert on international trade. And Professor John Peebyhouse will share his expertise in American foreign policy. Our conversation will be moderated by your host, Mike Knetter.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining us. As we expand the topics that we're talking about here on UW Now Live, we're going to discuss a very Wisconsin topic this evening, an alternative use of cheese. Tonight, we'll discuss the past, present, and future of this economic issue with our experts. Some of the questions we'll discuss: why build with cheese? What are the challenges and drawbacks? And is this the building material of the future? Those are our questions, but please put those you might have for our guests into the live chat. We'll go first tonight to our guest, Assistant Professor Morgan Sachs, who will discuss the pros and cons of this alternative building method. Thanks for being with us, Morgan.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate any opportunity I can talk about cheese. So my talk tonight is Cheddar is Better, Cheese with Ease, and why are we talking about building with cheddar? Wisconsin obviously produces over 600 million pounds of cheddar annually, so we would be remiss if we didn't take advantage of this opportunity of these sustainable, delicious goods we've got right here at home. Of course, that's not without some drawbacks. Some of our critics would talk about structural integrity, weather resistance, and potential interested rodents, but there are still plenty of benefits that would be able to get over these barriers of Colby Jack. Next slide, please. So when we talk about choosing the right cheddar, we've got a lot of decisions here. There's a potential aging opportunity with some of the aged cheddar being dense and more durable. Fresh cheddar is potentially too soft and prone to melting. So when we talk about our conclusions here, our best cheddar for construction would be an extra sharp, the structural integrity there. And then we've actually here at UW-Madison come upon some specific cheddar building materials and a new product, Cheesecrete. Next slide, please. All right, now when we talk about Cheesecrete, this is a highly specialized product here. And if you look at, we've got a formula kind of on the left of this vinegar bottle here that's really captures the entire thing. We might want to zoom in on that just so our audience can see the winning formula. Can throw something like this full screen, but this is the Cheesecrete material that we are working on here at UW-Madison and think it's going to be the key to the future in cheese architecture. Next slide, please. Awesome. Now, when we talk about some of those structures,
sorry to jump in real quick. I have a quick question. Emily, are you switching back and forth on the buttons that are directly under the window?
No, and because I did not know you could do that. So I was switching back and forth on my monitor. So that's really good to know.
Yeah, so, well, if you look at the, just fully under where all of us are, and then you see like the window that's your presentation.
Okay.
So you can just full screen with that button. So you see there's another button right there. Yeah.
Oh, that's so my bad. I did not know that.
So yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You don't actually have to use any of these buttons under here. Like the layout you're on right now, you can just stay that the whole show and only use these buttons that are below the screen. And like the little quick tip I was adding before, it's just like when in doubt, just add something, and that'll probably work out, because when you go full screen on something else, you can do a bunch of other stuff behind the scenes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that does. So then if I'm just like switching slides, since I'm just good to like hit the arrow, because I was like, going back and forth, hitting the arrow on that one, and it wasn't clicking fast enough. So that was just where I was confused. So that's very helpful.
Yeah, so just staying down there is pretty easy, and then
Okay.
Cool.
Great. So we'll keep moving with structural design considerations. Of course, we've got shape and structure. We've also got some recommendations on a layering technique, compressing cheddar blocks for a solid foundation. We've got some really interesting hypotheses about cheese mortar, whether we melt it or re-solidify or use it as is. And then, of course, roofing and insulation, ever important elements of home building, is an additional layer of Parmesan needed for hardness on the roof. Excellent. And as we talk about the roof structure, we also want to discuss wind resistance techniques. So aerodynamic design, rounded edges are going to serve us well, like a gigantic block of cheese. Anchoring the cheese home, we'll talk about some rebar, pretzel rods, and a cheddar foundation. And then sealants and coatings, along with things like temperature control. How can we harness ventilation to keep cheese from softening? Do we need constant refrigeration for a home of this structure? And then, of course, we've got the ever-present challenge of pest and rodent prevention, natural deterrents, whether it's pepper-infused cheddar or other inflammatory materials or sealed cheese bricks, which may help deter those pesky creatures. Awesome. Now we got a little bit of data here. If you zoom in kind of on the center area, you'll see a lot of activity where we think cheddar building has an opportunity here into the future. So things have been going up, things have been going down, but we really think this is our opportunity here in the current architectural landscape. So as far as the conclusion goes, this is just about as good of an idea as you think it is. And then, of course, what's up on the forefront? We've got maybe cottage cheese, cottage, question mark, question mark. And that's all I've got for today.
Great. Thank you so much, Morgan. We sure appreciate it. We have been getting some questions here in the chat this evening. Jojo wonders what kind of smell mitigation techniques might be used in this application.
You know, we haven't associated or attacked that one yet. We do have some filters in testing that may help with that odor reduction, but that's on the forefront.
Do we want to practice the kind of the exchange pass off from the presentation again, just because I think that's one of the harder parts to get right. So Emily, I would go, so if you have, let's remove, keep me in for a second, and then let's remove Jess. And then let's bring up the presentation again. Yeah, so if we have this up and Morgan's kind of wrapping up, we can just click her full screen. So this would be her, and then you could remove her presentation and then just hit add on Mike. And then it would be me and Mike again. Does that make sense? So do you want to try that?
Yeah, my only thing, so if there is multiple, obviously like there wouldn't be multiple people, but if there is, you can't control who you'd want to be like that main person, right? If you were in like that solo and you just wanted it to be on one person.
So whoever you want to be full screen, like everyone has a solo button in their window. So in the top left of my picture, there's a button to go solo. And so if you were
okay. Yeah.
So that's the button I go just when I want to go full screen, and then all there is to do is just hit remove on whoever you want off the screen or the presentation as well. But you can hear me right now because you've gone full on Morgan, but I'm still in the show. You see how I'm still blue?
Yeah. Do you want me to take you off and then just go presentation, Morgan full screen?
Yeah,
and then add Jess.
Yeah, let's go back to your presentation with Morgan. Yep, and then I'll take my.
Excellent. So in conclusion here, what's on the horizon? Cottage cheese, cottage, who knows? And then we'll wrap up with the conclusion, which is this is just about as good of an idea as you think it is. Thanks, Mike.
Great, that was so helpful. Thank you for going through all of that information. Is that a sufficient sort of check or test on we wanted to try this part? I think we did a little bit of Q&A, so should we
Again, just one more time.
Great. So in conclusion here, we've got our next question, which is what's on the horizon? Perhaps a cottage cheese cottage. Who knows? So I'll wrap up here. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thanks for being with us, Morgan. We sure appreciate it. We would move at this point in our show into the question and answer portion, and I would pose some questions to our cheese expert.
So if there's another guest, you just bring me on. And this part's easy because we just talk for the rest of the show like this. And if you can tell someone is going to go for a long time, you could click their solo button.
Mike, that's a really interesting question. It feels like I've done a lot of studying on this. And so I've got a really, really dynamic answer on this that might take 3 or 4 moments to set this up. So you could put me full screen if I start queuing up in that particular way.
There's also 3 dots. If you go up to the screen, where the actual show is, there's 3 dots that appear in each person's window. That's another way. If you click on those, you could solo layout as well. So there's a couple different spots you can do it.
Guys, I unfortunately have to urgently go look at a Chancellor message right now. This is not opportune timing. But if you want to if you want to continue to run through, and Joe and Melissa, I know we haven't gotten to you guys yet. I'm going to let Jake and Morgan keep going here. I will jump back in if you guys stay in, and as soon as I can. I just have to look at this right now.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Jess. So if you guys want to bring everyone in, I think what we can do is let's do Joe and Melissa. But Jake, if you want to potentially be Mike in this scenario, if you could change your name just for function on that, that would be helpful. Thanks, Emily. Were there any big questions? And of course, we can chat about these through, but were there any big questions that you had from that trial?
No, I already asked them, but I just realized we never ended the stream, so I'm just going to end it and not play the outro video so we don't have to watch it for a second time, if that's fine with everyone.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.